great food, a relaxing atmosphere, and activities for all ages. Tennis, swimming, and a playground. But the fun doesn't stop after dark. There's even a bar and an arcade. And if you aren't ready to go home yet, we've even got a spacious room for your comfort, complete with air conditioning, Wi-Fi, and a private. The Toucan Mall can also facilitate your event in our spacious conference hall. We also have a theater with films for the entire family. It's the Toucan Linden.
No noise?
Looking for a place for the whole family? Come down to the Toucan Mall in Amelia's Ward, Linden. It's the mall that has it all. We have great food, a relaxing atmosphere, and activities for all ages. Tennis, swimming, and a playground. But the fun doesn't stop after dark. There's even a bar and an arcade. And if you aren't ready to go home yet, we've even got a spacious room for your comfort, complete with air conditioning, Wi-Fi, and a private bathroom. The Toucan Mall can also facilitate your event in our spacious conference hall. We also have a theater with films for the entire family. It's the Toucan Mall located in Amelia's Ward, Linden.
Alrighty, a very good evening to all of my friends and relatives and well-wishers and those of you who are just at home waiting on the program to come on. Welcome once again. It's Thursday. This is History Made today because it's the last Thursday in July of 2020. It will not come back. Alright? It will not come back. It's gone after today. Thursday the 30th of July 2020 is not going to be anymore. So we make history today. We make it every day. And I want you to know that when these days come and they go, whatever you didn't do today, you can't make it up tomorrow because this day is gone. You have to do something else tomorrow's day, right? So for those of you who do nothing all day and sit back and enjoy doing nothing all day, you're wasting a lot of time. You're wasting the time that's allotted to you. The time will go anyway. So welcome. Get busy, grab yourself a nice glass of drink or some water, sit back. I got some information that may surprise you that's happening right in your backyard. Okay? We are still in the the state of corona. It's all over still in the world in different places, and we must continue to follow the rules. Many of you are not following the rules. If you see me looking down, I'm just checking my phone to see the messages that are coming in. So don't worry that. Listen to what I'm saying because we're not taking any calls because calls are difficult to manage using this process. Okay, we tried it and it doesn't really work that well. It can't come directly to me. It comes to my operator, and then my operator has to send it to me, and da 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 da. So we stopped doing that. You're just gonna have me talk, which I don't really like doing all the time because my program is really designed to be interactive, where you call in and you state your case, and I try to be the adjudicator and respond hopefully good enough so you could benefit from whatever it is that you call about. We're going to try and see how we can help, but if anything comes through that I can deal with, If it can get to me, I will get it back to you. I am still in a state where we have to do work remotely. This is a remote situation right now, and we are, thank God, we're working at the clinic. It's been done remotely, but we are working, and we're working as if I'm right there. So those of you who need to see us, you're welcome to come. Make your appointment and go. Don't just show up because there are persons who are appointed to be there, and we only work for so many hours because it's not as easy. And the staff there is kind of busy trying to deal with all other matters, including when you show up. Tomorrow's a holiday, and I guess most people will be home or um, about doing little things. But don't forget, we're still in the corona state, meaning that you need to take caution. Okay, you need to be cautious about your movements, about your hand washing or sanitizing, about your wearing of the mask, about social distancing. That's the new phrase now. Social distancing. My operator um, is performing social distancing now from me because she's there and I'm here, right? So we're practicing social distancing for miles and miles and miles. So no way she will get anything from me, I will get anything from her except words, right? So you need to practice social distancing. Uh, Look, we are screening people every day, and we are finding the coronavirus in persons. Okay, today we didn't find any. We found some in the week, and persons are very alarmed about the fact that they may have this coronavirus because they have no symptoms that tells them that they do. There are other things that are happening with them, but they don't have per se a temperature or a cough or something that indicates that they have the coronavirus. But when we screen them, we are finding it. Okay, this week up to this point today, we found I think it's three for the week, and the youngest one being youth. Okay, a youth. So be aware that the virus has no prejudice. It doesn't matter who you are, what you do, what race you are, what age you are. It has nothing to do with any of that. Okay? As long as you've been exposed, um, you will contract it once the system can't fight it. Now, what I found in our work with persons who would have the virus, what we found is that these persons, for the most part, are suffering with other conditions. Okay? And I want to be very clear on this. Many of you have symptoms of other things that are wrong that actually is the word I want to use here. It creates a pathway for the coronavirus, basically, right? For instance, many of you have viruses in your system, and I'm going right into what I wanted to talk about today because this is very serious. Many of you are walking around with viruses and you don't know you have it. Very seriously. You're walking around with viruses and you're not aware that you have viruses. What might be some of these viruses? Now, I'm finding that number one, we have a problem there with a virus that's called adenovirus. Okay? Adenovirus is a virus that many persons have. Um, It's a fecal oral transmitted virus, meaning that it is a stool to mouth virus, meaning that many of you defecate. You go to the toilet, which is a normal process for you. Um, you may wipe yourself and flush the toilet with the same hand that you're wiping yourself with. I want you to listen to me very carefully. When you wipe, you think you're wiping only with the paper sometimes, but you're not. Fecal matter is getting on your hands or your fingers. And when you flush the toilet with that finger, you are transferring the fecal matter from your finger on to the handle or the flushing device that is used. Okay? Now, let us just say that the average person will wash their hands um, before they flush or after they flush. Wash your hand after they flush, right? But not all persons do that. I would suggest, number one, that when you defecate and you wipe, flush the toilet with the other hand or another finger that you didn't use to wipe with. That way you don't have to wonder if you transferred fecal matter to the handle. This is a practice that needs to be carried out by every person in the household. If you're in a school setting or a business setting where many persons are using the toilet, some notice need to be put up, or it should be mentioned that if you use the toilet, flush the toilet with a different finger or different hand that you wipe yourself with. Fecal oral matter also is transmitted in different ways from a doorknob, a simple doorknob, because if you didn't wash your hands properly to get off that fecal matter and you open the door with the finger or hand that you use to wipe, you could transfer that fecal matter from yourself to a doorknob and you go back and forth opening that door and you may wash your hand, wipe your hand, and then open the door or close the door. That knob that you held onto when after you wiped would contain that fecal matter, which you will transmit into your system or to someone else. You shake somebody's hand, boom, you transfer that fecal matter to the person. You know, so this thing about sanitizing and wiping and washing is a crucial thing in many instances. You may use the toilet, wash your hand, and didn't do it properly, and all of a sudden you call to dinner, right? What's cooked for dinner? Something that you have to use your hand to eat, maybe bread or tennis roll or roti or something that requires you using your hand. If you don't wash that hand properly, wash those fingers properly, wash the nails properly, you know, you you could reinfect or infect yourself because you use that hand to tear the roti or to tear the bread or whatever the tennis roll, and then you put that in your mouth. And guess what? On that food particle or food item is fecal matter that you put in your mouth. That's how you infect yourself. And then some people have the habit of licking and sucking their fingers when they eat because the food is so good, it's so tasty, right? I mean, curry is a thing that is so tasty. You know, when you eat roti and curry, I mean, if you get the right cook making that curry, you're gonna lick your finger. Most people lick their fingers, right? Another way you lick your fingers, suppose you buy some Polari, okay? That's a finger food, and tomorrow's holiday requires a lot of finger foods. This is a very good day for me to talk about this particular topic because tomorrow is a finger food day, a sweet meat day. Right? Many persons are going to consume finger foods, and those fingers could very well be contaminated. Okay? Many persons are not washing their hands properly. Mechanics don't do it. Persons from the hairstyling business don't do it properly. You defecate, you don't do it properly if you don't wash your hands properly. You mean that you go outside and you do gardening, you come in, there's matter be inside your nails that you don't see, and you eat that finger food with those nails, fingers, and then some of you ladies, especially some men, I notice also long nails. You know? How in the world are you going to sanitize properly with those long nails? It's very difficult. You almost have to have a brush of some sort to to wipe or to wash right under the water, scrub those nails. That way they could be certain that there's nothing in there. I keep my nails very low. I don't like long nails, right? I don't like that. But to each his own. But you wanna think seriously about that particular virus. And there's real virus. There paramoxyvirus. There's all sorts of viruses out there. Point is, viruses are not wholesome. Bacteria is also not a system. Okay, we have a lot of people who are walking along with Streptococcus bacteria. Streptococcus is one that most persons don't even know they have the symptoms. So what we're finding is that persons who are having these viruses and bacteria, when we test them, they show positive for the coronavirus. Why? The coronavirus is not a virus that stands alone. It has other attachments, like some of those that we talk about. And I can tell you about a whole slew of them that are out there. So don't take it lightly, my friends. Don't. Your hands and your washing of your hands is crucial, very crucial in assisting with the overcoming of not just the coronavirus or the avoidance of having the coronavirus, but also other viruses and bacteria. You know, so please, please, before you touch anything to put in your mouth, either use a toothpick that's clean, or you make sure that your hands are clean. It's mango season, right? It's season for different type of fruits that you have to use your fingers to eat with. You know, we have cashews, we have all sorts of things that we can use our fingers to get into our mouths. And because of the fact that we touch or we do things that remain on our fingers without sanitizing or washing properly, we are sometimes our worst enemy when it comes to transferring bacteria and viruses in our system, right? The other thing is that you may go somewhere using transportation. You go in a car or in a bus or someplace, and you hold a door, or you hold a handle, or you hold a seat, or a seat handle, or you hold on to the passenger seat, to help yourself to get into the car or the bus. You don't know what's on there. You get in there, you got some popcorn, you got some nuts, you got some chana, and you're eating away, not knowing that that hand just picked up something from that place where you touched. Right? I'm saying all of this because many of these viruses and bacteria are transmitted by hand. Yes, by hand. So getting back to the virus, the corona, and other viruses, you have to be very conscious of when you're putting your hands into your mouth or putting your hands to your mouth. Be conscious of the fact that your hand should be thoroughly clean before you do that. Right? All right. Second thing is that I wanted to share with you is this. We are finding also that there are many persons who possess STDs, sexually transmitted diseases, and they don't know it. And they don't know. We are seeing, we've begun to keep a log of the persons that are screened who are detected with STDs. or STIs. It's a serious thing in our countries, in our communities, and more so, people are home. They've been home, and you're going from neighbor to neighbor or house to house or boyfriend to girlfriend or whatever it is, and you don't know that your partner has another person who they are involved with, who has problems that they don't know, that they're picking up and bringing to you. This is more serious, my friends, than even some of the viruses that we talk about. Why? Because it is affecting persons even in their teens, their early teens. We're finding that young teenagers, underage teenagers, underage who should not be involved sexually, having sexually transmitted infections. Seriously. 14-year-old, 13-year-old, it's disgusting. Why is a 14 or 13-year-old girl why are you involved sexually in the first place? And who is the person you involved with sexually? I am very um, I'm very angry about some of what is happening in our society, and the law is not being applied to those situations. We are having in our society and in other societies, but I can speak about our society, persons who confess to have been having intercourse or sex with persons who are older, and they are younger, really younger, like 13 and 14, and persons in their 20s and 30s, having sex with girls, men in their 20s and 30s, having sex with girls who are 13 and 14 and 15 years old. And these men are infecting these girls with sexually transmitted diseases. It's a sad situation. These innocent girls are having their vaginas penetrated by dirty men who are dirty. When I say dirty, they are sexually promiscuous in many ways, and they are transmitting what they pick up into these innocent girls, and the parent don't even know what is going on in our society. And then they're afraid to report it, or they don't want to report it. Why? Some of the parents cannot afford the children, cannot afford to pay the fees for the children, cannot afford to pay their transportation, cannot afford to buy a lunch, give them money for a lunch if they have to. Stop having to depend on the buying of a lunch, and take your lunch to school. Take it in a container that can keep it warm, that way you can eat it at lunch and then you go home and have your dinner. Right? Some of these children, these babies, are not complaining or reporting these jagabats or rascals or perverts, sick men, older in age, penetrating underage teenagers and giving them sexually transmitted diseases. Something needs to happen. There needs to be organizations. There needs to be laws that are in place that are actually enforced. These men create the environment for these girls that gives them comfort, because he will provide my lunch. He'll give me money to get me to get to school or whatever. But you're paying a serious price for it, because early in your years, number one, you shouldn't be having intercourse. You should be focused on your schoolwork. You should be focused on edifying yourself, on learning what you dare to do. You should be focused on your exams that are coming. You should be focused on a future that can help you to become somebody versus depending on somebody. I had to lecture this almost same topic this week. You know, it's something needs to happen because these men, and I don't think it happens the other way around. You know, when a woman goes, it happens, yes, but not as often as the men. Older women would go with young teenagers too and do the same thing. But it is more prevalent that the older men would go and do dirty work with these young girls. And I can see how it happens. I can see how it happens because of what we have in our society. Our society has a very high poverty rate. Many of the parents that are working are seriously underpaid. They cannot afford to give the children any money to do things. You know, they can't afford to pay their fees. They can't afford to pay their transportation. They can't even afford to buy books for these kids. So when the guy comes along that offers to help them, he comes along innocent at first, you know, like, oh, don't worry, I am going to help you and you don't need to worry about anything. And next thing you know, he's inching closer and closer to your vagina. I have to be open. Many of these guys who are, whatever you call them, you can call them what you want, you know, but I'm in a program here, I have to know what I'm saying. Many of these guys have a motive. They come with an agenda. I'm telling you. They only come to you like if they're sheep, but they're dogs. They're like tigers. They come like you, like an animal that is in heat, just waiting and buying time for your weakness. When you get comfortable with them, the next thing you know, they're holding your hands and they're holding your body and they're doing things that innocently dragging you into their net. So you have to be careful, and the parents need to educate the children, especially your girl children. Educate them about these vultures that are out there that their aims are to penetrate their vaginas. I know persons who went through those things that they're suffering today because of the person they trusted, the man that they trusted, that came to them like a sheep, like a lamb, promising them all sorts of safety nets, not knowing that he was luring them into his net. Girls today who are even women, they're women today who, when they look back, there's some guy somewhere, sometimes an elder in the church, sometimes a pastor, sometimes a trusted person that is in the family. It's a serious problem, and there needs to be a network created. Maybe women for little girls, or men, or something for girls, for the teens, that they can call you and they can confide in you and they can talk with you about what men are doing with them, so that they could be arrested and put in front of the court and be sentenced to some sort of a penalty that they would regret what they did. It's a sad situation, my friends. It is happening. I know it is, because the little girls confess to me. They confess, they talk about it. Sometimes they even try lying about it. But then, you know, because of my background in clinical psychology, I have a few ways of trying to get information out, and most times I'm successful at it. Many of you don't know, but I have a PhD in clinical psychology. It's part of what I do. I was trained to do that. I can have you telling me things that you don't realize until you're done. But it's dangerous what you're doing out there, guys, because what you're doing, some of you don't even know you have STDs walking around with it. And let me tell you further. Let me tell you further. When you put these dirty STDs into the vaginas of these little girls, after you would have penetrated them, many of them end up suffering because the labs don't pick up your dirt that you deposited into them because they may not have any symptoms. But what you're doing is that you're destroying the inner part of that person, that girl, that woman. Even some of you men are transferring it even to your own wives and girlfriends of age. Women are in shock sometimes when I reveal to them that they're walking around with an STD, in shock because they don't have any symptoms. It's a sad thing because the parameters that are set will only detect certain diseases when you reach the parameters. So when we don't have parameters in our system, so we find whatever it is. We'll screen you and find it. I don't care. You think we don't find it, we will find it. We have a system or device that will find it. Guaranteed accurate in over 96% in its accuracy. We will find your disease and we will reveal it to you because you need to know. And some of you doubt it. Some of you, what? No way. I went to the lab the other day or whatever. Really? Trust me, if we find it, it's in you. I'm telling you. If we find it, we don't put the diagnosis there. We may put your symptoms. We may say that you have a headache or a bellyache or whatever. When that condition shows up in there, it's not because we say so. It's your body that tells us what is wrong with it. And you need to believe it. Some of you don't believe it and you suffer in the end. I'm saying to you, believe it. Because it's you who are telling me what is wrong with you, not me. So when I tell you the findings, it's not because I put them there. It's because they are there in you. They are in you. It is the most accurate diagnostic tool in the world. It is. You tell me of another device that can tell you what is wrong with you by you telling us what is wrong with you. Tell me another one. There isn't. You have to go to the lab to find out, and the lab will only tell you because of symptoms that you may have. If it doesn't have any, if you don't have a symptoms, they have to be looking for that. And who has time to look for something they don't know what to look for? It's really a sickening thing, folks. We have people who are infected with HIV that don't even know they have HIV. They don't know. Because some man walking around with HIV and don't know he got it. Gonorrhea, chlamydia, trichomonas. Walking around with it, herpes. But that is not so bad as the others. Because some people are born with herpes. If you've had the chicken pox, then the herpes viruses will remain in your body. That wouldn't create the havoc like an STD, which is like trichomonas or gonorrhea or chlamydia, one of those. Those type of viruses and bacteria and diseases and infections will create havoc on your prostate, guys, on your urinary system, on your your sexuality. Some of you can't get erections and you're wondering why, and you're young. Some of you have problems with your urination and you're young and you're wondering why. Some of you having pain in your pelvic region and you're wondering why. There's no symptom, so why are you having pain? Some doctor says nothing is wrong with you, so why are you having pain? Some doctor tells you, oh, the discharge is normal. Really? What discharge is normal? The only discharge is normal that is normal in you is your orgasm, your menstruation, and your ovulation. There's going to be some moisture, but it shouldn't be no discharge. Other than those, if you have one of those, you better get to somebody who knows what to do about it, or somebody who can detect what it is, and so that way you can get treatment. Because if you don't fix it, my friends, you're going to have cervicitis or inflammation of the cervix, And then you're going to have cervical erosion, you're going to have salpingitis, and the next thing you know, you have cervical cancer. Something is shedding. If you have a discharge, something is shedding. Something is eroding. Nothing is cleaning itself. The vagina does not clean itself, my friends. Don't be fooled. If the vagina is cleaning itself, then the penis is supposed to do the same thing. Because it's part of the male reproductive and that's part of your reproductive. So if God made you to clean your own vagina naturally by discharging something, then the man's supposed to do that too. If a man is having a discharge, he ain't gonna want to say that's normal. No, he gonna want to know what's coming out of me. So why should a discharge coming out of you, the female, be normal? Think. I challenge, and I did it before, and nobody could have done it. I challenge any doctor, anywhere, to prove that your discharge you're having every day is normal. And I always say it, and I'll say it again. If you are a doctor, female, and you are having a discharge every day, you need a doctor who can help you to overcome that. I challenge you. It's not normal. It's shedding. It's the lining of the uterus that is shedding, my friends. Some of it has an odor that some of you can't take. What in the world would be normal if there's an odor coming out of you? Not all of them have odors, but the odor is when it gets really bad. It's at the point where it is soon enough will be cervical cancer or uterine cancer. Soon enough. So men, please leave the babies alone. There are enough women out there, your age or within the age bracket, that will do anything for you. Don't bother them little girls. You can get locked up. In my administration, in my force, in my police force, in my legal system, you are jailbird. You mess with an underage child and you get caught, you go to jail. We should put rewards out there for girls who have been molested by men so that they can be some sort of an award that they get for reporting the rascal. There should be some reward. Anyone who has been penetrated by another man of any age, that is X amount of age, and you're underage, this is a number. If you can prove it, and we can prove it, then we give you the reward, or we give your parent the reward, and that man is going to be arrested and put to jail. Something needs to happen. You know, I really wanted to get that off of me today because it hurt my it hurt my intelligence, and it hurt my conscience when I learned of what happened to this baby this week, 14 years old, who should be allowed to mature naturally without some pedophile, some pervert, some sick big person penetrating that innocent child for whatever reason and giving her an STD or an STI. You men need to get yourself checked. You may not have a symptom, you make an appointment, we will find out if there's a problem and get yourself fixed, because you will have prostate troubles soon enough if you don't have it already. You will have urinary problems soon enough if you don't have it already. You will be giving your spouses and your girlfriends STIs if you haven't done it already and they haven't gotten it already. You see how it works? The guy have an STI. So now I've got to make this clear that we have found 3 cases so far in my practice since 1993. 3 cases where women had STIs, that chlamydia, and they were virgins. Yes, it can happen, but it has to be passed on by the mother. We had that happen already. We've had it gone. We had 3 persons so far in my whole practice. So it can happen, but it hardly does happen. Most of the time, it's the man who don't know penetrating that child or penetrating that woman and giving her the STI, and boom, there it is. Okay? So please, please, guys, stop it. Stop it. Please stop it. All right. Let me see. I got a couple of things I want to I want to have you look at. So if I can get my operator to maybe put on something, you know, maybe she can do two of them, and then we could do one in the end. That way you could I could take a break from my mouth and give my mouth a chance to relax a little bit from talking for so long straight away, right? So what she will do first, she will do a Martin Luther King uh, conversation, right? And then we will do a uh, I'll show you something that I witnessed, a squash, a plant that looks as long as a snake. Yes, a squash in a garden that grew naturally. So my friend, my operator, my dearest operator, please show the two.
What is it about the Negro? I mean, every other
I will
group
let,
that came as an immigrant somehow, not easily, but somehow got around it. Is it just the fact that Negroes are black?
White America must see that no other ethnic group has been a slave on American soil. That is one thing that other immigrant groups haven't had to face. The other thing is that the color became a stigma. American society made the Negro's color a stigma. America freed the slaves in 1863 through the Emancipation Proclamation of Abraham Lincoln, but gave the slaves no land or nothing in reality, and as a matter of fact, to get started on. At the same time, America was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that there was a willingness to give the white peasants from Europe an economic base. And yet it refused to give its black peasants from Africa, who came here involuntarily in chains and had worked free for 244 years, any kind of economic base. And so emancipation for the Negro was really freedom to hunger. It was freedom to the winds and rains of heaven. It was freedom without food to eat or land to cultivate, and therefore it was freedom and famine at the same time. And when white Americans tell the Negro to lift himself by his own bootstraps, they don't look over the legacy of slavery and segregation. I believe we ought to do all we can and seek to lift ourselves by our own bootstraps, but it's a cruel jest to say to a bootless man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And many Negroes, by the thousands and millions, have been left bootless as a result of all of these years of oppression and as a result of a society that deliberately made his color a stigma and something worthless and degrading.
okay. I hope you enjoyed those two short videos there. One was by one of the wisest men that lived, and the second one is the squash that's so long. Now you can grow that squash, and I tell you that's a heck of a squash. I plan to have in my garden some awesome things when I started back. So you plan to see my garden in the very near future, all right? I wanted to emphasize some more on the bacteria, particularly the ones that you pick up in vehicles and in places that you may not expect. Streptococcus bacteria. We're finding that as we screen, I don't know. I would like to know if the labs really pick those up because I never really heard anyone mention that about the labs picking that up. We may be the only lab that detects that here, as far as I can know, unless someone tells me differently. We have seen persons with several types of Streptococcus bacteria, particularly this week. For some reason, this week was awesome when it comes to that. And Streptococcus bacteria are dangerous. They're very dangerous because they can create problems that you don't expect and you don't like. We're finding persons who would have gone to institutions, and most times when people come to us is because they would have exhausted all of their places, right? Now, bear in mind, I have to mention this, that we work by appointment, and you need to call and schedule an appointment. Don't just show up because you may not be seen. Okay, that's very serious. Secondly, I have to tell you that many persons don't believe the findings. Many persons don't, and I can't help you doubting the findings, but I've known persons who doubted the findings that are dead today. Seriously, because they went wherever they went, and when they came, we detected what was wrong with them, and because they doubted the findings, the conditions got worse and they're dead today. Some persons who come to us and are detected, and I know we detect them correctly, don't pick up the medicines because they believe that it's too expensive. Number one, we have to import everything and pay duty and shipping, all that. You all don't know. You try bringing it in yourself and you see. They come to us and they believe that the detection that was done is not, it's not local to what they know. And I gotta say this because there are many persons who are in that category of doubting, have medical persons in the family, maybe a nurse or a therapist or some sort, who, when they take the results and they look at it, they say, oh, no, there's no way you can have all these problems. Well, I got news for you. Those of you who doubt are ignorant. You're in ignorance. Because your body is not going to put you through those changes unless something is wrong. And if you go to places and they don't find what is wrong with you, and you still have a problem, and then you come and we find what is wrong with you, and you doubt in the problem, you doubt in the results, then why are you coming? Why? If you're going to doubt the results, don't come. Because all you're doing is you're stressing yourself out more, and you're making me go into sadness because you're going to pass on or you're going to continue to suffer. I don't like suffering. I guess the reason why I'm in this field for all these years and I'm getting worse is because I don't like to see people suffer. I suffer when I see you suffer. Seriously. When you suffer, it works on my psychic. Because I don't like suffering. I don't like to see suffering. And because of my weakness, I take it on and I do everything I can to help you. And you walk away doubting what we're trying to do to help you. Seriously. I got people right now who are suffering, maybe gonna die because they doubted what we found, and now they're trying to do everything that they should have done 6 months ago, but some of it is too late. The cells have been destroyed, organs have been compromised, and some of you are not gonna make it. You've taken seriously the results too late. Some have already gone. And that doesn't mean that we are any gods or geniuses. The system may be genius, but not me. Not me. So please, if you come with an open mind, come expecting to find out what is wrong with you. And when you find what is wrong with you, my friends, deal with it, fix it, work on it. If it says don't eat apples, don't buy another apple till it tells you you can eat an apple. If it says don't eat pumpkin, don't eat pumpkin. If it says don't drink milk, don't drink milk, because it's your body telling us what is provoking your conditions more. You're going to understand. It's not me giving you a diet. It's your disease that is existing and your body that is saying to you, based on the diseases, that these things are things that are causing more problems for you. Stay away from them for now until you're better. And guess what? As you get better, that changes too. Your body can tolerate more of the things because it is repairing itself. I'm spending this time on that particular subject because I sometimes I'm in awe because persons don't believe the diagnosis. And then you go home and some quack tells you that it can't be, or some person in the medical field who don't understand how we detected your condition is saying to you it can't be, impossible, the lab didn't find it, so that can't be. And then you're the one that's in the pain and suffering. I've known a few people who are already dead because some person in the medical field who didn't understand how we do what we do encouraged them to not bother. I challenge you in the medical field, if you're there and you have a suffering one who come with them so you can understand what is happening and how it is diagnosed. Don't assume that you know because you really don't know. Most of you are ignorant of how we detect things in people. Most of you are ignorant. You don't understand. Even the people who sit in those chairs don't understand. They don't, because we get the calls. Explain this to me, explain that to me. And they sit there and witness it. Everything is open to you. It's all in the open. We hide nothing. This is not a place where you come and we put anything in a corner and then we do it. Or we go in and behind a room and put anything. No. Everything is done right in front of your eyes, my friends. You witness from start to finish the whole process unless you fall asleep, because I've known many persons who sat in that chair and fell asleep because it's very comfortable and it makes you want to sleep because of the environment. It's relaxing. You know, by the way, Oliver, that's at the clinic, and Joy, we are very, very, very particular about sanitizing. Every person that comes out of that in or out of that office is sanitized. Every time one person leaves, everything is sanitized. So you don't have to wonder what's going to happen. No, everything is sanitized before you sit. The chair, the arm, the instruments, everything. Everything. They don't play with that. You know? And let me tell you, by the way, we have detected many cases of the coronavirus, over 50. And every one of them are alive today. Everyone. Because the medicines are made to treat them. Right there in front of their eyes. It's put together by the device. It is formulated by the device based on what is wrong with you. You don't understand. So when you take the pill and you put it in your mouth, it is customized for your repairing of your problems in your body, made specifically for you. It will freak some of you out if you come and witness it. You'd freak out because you'll be puzzled as to how it happens. I was puzzled at first. But I understand fully what happens. You see, we're going to do another demo one day in front of your eyes so you can witness it. All of you Doubting Thomases, all of you. And I challenge any one of you. When we give a diagnosis, you go to the lab and let them look for those results. If we find a streptococcus bacteria in your system, you go to the lab and let them look for that streptococcus. I guarantee you they'll find it. But in the beginning, they're not looking for that. No, they're not doing broad spectrum screening. You can't pay for that. No. When you sit and have that equipment on your head and on your hands inside of your body, we are actually detecting your conditions inside of your DNA, in your brain, your central nervous system. We don't miss. We don't miss. If you got chlamydia, we'll find it. If you got cancer, we'll find it. If you got AIDS, we can find it. If you got corona, we will find it. Adenovirus, we will find it. Streptococcus, we're going to find it. We're going to find it. And we do find them every single day. And we will tell you how you got it. We may not know where you got it, but we will tell you how you got it. Everything is explained to you right in front of your eyes. So those of you who doubt